record and we will get started. So again, in case you missed it, we are covering direct mailers in Command today. My name is Kate with Scott Leroy Marketing, and I'm going to be going over this with you today. So we are going to take a look at creating a postcard, as well as how to actually send those postcards through Command. So let's jump in. The first thing we want to do is log into our Command platform. So if you're not familiar, it is agent.kw.com. And from there, the first thing we want to do is take a look at our marketing profile. Now, the marketing profile is not to be confused with my profile. They are two separate profiles. Unfortunately, they do not communicate with each other. And the My profile is mostly an internal. So the one we want to take a look at is under Settings. And from there, we want to come down to Connect Settings and Marketing Profile. And guys, the reason we're taking a look at this is because some of these things in your marketing profile feed over to various pieces of marketing in your designs. And more specifically for direct mailers, some of these pieces are going to pull over from here into your designs. So it is just kind of important to make sure they're updated. This profile also does feed over information to your KW website, to your branded mobile app, all of those things. So this is probably the most important profile to make sure it is up to date. So with that being said, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have a photo included in your marketing profile. They do recommend that as a 360 by 360 image. The reason for that being on some pieces of marketing that you create or your website, things like that, that image will appear distorted or stretched out, or even maybe your head is partially chopped off. So just super important to make sure that that is sized correctly to make sure none of those things happen. The next one is your team logo. Now you may be saying, I'm not on a team, I don't have a team logo. For some of the marketing pieces in Command, it's going to pull a team logo whether you are on a team or not. So we do recommend having something there, whether you've branded yourself as a solo agent and you have your own logo, or if you just want to do like me and throw in a KW logo, that is perfectly fine too. However, if you do leave that blank, in some cases, it will appear as a broken image. We won't say that today, but just like to cover that. Next, your name and other information here. Your bio is required, so you do have to have that. That's not relevant for our design today, but it is required for the profile. And then your phone numbers, those are going to come in handy, as well as your email and website. This needs to be the full URL, not just the, scottleroymarketing.com. If you are using your KW website there, make sure you do not enter www. The KW websites actually don't work with those. You do need your market center information included for today specifically. It will pull that information into our design. And then if you do have any compliance that you need to include, you do want to make sure those are added. If you're not sure, definitely check with your broker in charge or compliance coordinator for your office. They will be able to direct you with that information. If you have any socials or Google Analytics, you can also toss those in. Again, not all of this is relevant for today, but some of this is going to pull into our design. So once we're all done and everything is updated, you do just want to make sure you hit save so that that is updated. Few people just joining. If you just missed it, we just went over the marketing profile. You can access this recording later and rewatch that if you need it. But the next thing we're going to do, you guys, is we are going to head over into our direct mailers. So for that, we're going to head over to campaigns. If you're not sure where to go for campaigns, you can hover over these. You can also expand that red and white KW to find the one you're looking for, but we are going straight into campaigns. And then from here, we are brought into the dashboard for all of the various types of campaigns you can create. However, for today's class, we are focusing on this direct mailer one. So we are going to take a look at that. Now this is the dashboard for that. So it's going to go over, you know, how many pieces month to date you've mailed out, how many recipients, leads, and money spent. You can also search for specific direct mailers that you've sent out. You can filter those based on if they were mailed, in draft, archived, or if you want to see everything. You can also filter based on your goal. So if you're trying to see how one previously did, you can pull that up and search for those. They do have different goals for each of those. And down below, we have an overview. So this is going to give you the title of the direct mailer you're looking for, a quick little preview of that, what status that's in command. So if it's, again, in draft, archived, or mailed, the date that it was sent, and then if it was mailed, it's going to start giving you the other information here. So date, mailed, leads, recipients. You'll see the goal over here on the right-hand side. And then you do have 3 little dots here where you can either edit the campaign if it wasn't mailed yet, duplicate, or go ahead and archive that. We're going to go ahead and hit create campaign though, so we can actually take a look at that though. Again, direct mailers for today. It's going to have us pick our name. So I'm just going to do June 27th, 2024. And then we do need to decide what our goal is of our direct mailer. So determine what kind of postcard you're sending, what the purpose of it is, and then you can select your goal. So if we're highlighting a client event for our clients in our database, we could do event awareness. If we are just mailing out to try to stir up business, you can select either attract listings or attract buyers. If you're just saying, hey, I'm a new agent in the area, you could do brand awareness. So all up to you how you're going to determine your goal. For today, I'm going to go ahead and we'll do advertise a listing. And we're going to do create campaign. Now from there, it is going to bring us into go ahead and search for the property that we are advertising. As you can see, it's not showing any listings. I am not licensed. So when I have it filtered to only my listings, nothing is coming up. I do want to make sure I switch that to all listings, unless you are promoting one of your own. If you're not, just make sure you are following your local compliance laws on advertising others. But from there, we can go ahead and search for the property that we're wanting to advertise. So the easiest way to do this if you have a specific property is by the MLS number. Now the reason for that being is that this is pulling from every MLS. So to get more precise and to not have to dig through to find that listing, it is easier to search by the MLS number. However, I don't have one, so we are just going to search for a property. Let's see. I always do Main Street. It keeps it easy. And then we're just going to go ahead and select one. I'm going to go ahead and grab this here, and we're going to hit select. Now, as you can see, it's pulling the property information from the MLS. I can still go in and change the listing if I need to, if I grabbed the wrong one by accident. But if I have the right one, I can go ahead and move on to my next box. So that would be the content. Now from here, we get to either use their default templates or we can upload a custom template. Now we're going to first take a look at using a default template, and as long as we have time, which we generally do, we'll come back and take a look at uploading a custom one. But first, like I said, we're going to take a look at the defaults. So from there, you get to decide which default template you would like to use. There are a few of them. You have the compact 4x6, the default 6x9, a large template modern 6x11, and a large template contemporary 6x11. Now I'm going to show you what those look like, but first I want to come down and select our photo because otherwise you're just looking at a blank screen over here. So we're going to come down and take a look at our listing images. Now, you'll notice when we're taking a look at these, they all have this little exclamation that says they're low resolution. Now, that may not mean that your photo comes out looking funny, but it is just a reminder. So if you have your own images, you can certainly upload them, or you can go ahead and try to use one in here. That's fine too. But they're just letting you know, hey, if this comes out looking a little bit off, they're not at fault. The reason those are low resolution when they're pulling from the MLS is because they are going from the MLS to KWLS and from KWLS into the editor that we're working in. So in all that transition, it is losing a little bit of its quality. However, usually they still look pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just select this one here. And as you can see now, it's now showing on my postcard. So now we can kind of take a look at these various different templates so that we can kind of get a look for how they actually look. When it's just a white screen, it's a little harder to kind of see that and visualize it. So I like to just wait till I have my image. And then obviously if I'm looking for a certain size, I'm going to go with that. Or if I just like a certain look for it, you can go with that as well. Up to you. From there, we do want to verify our listing details are correct. Again, those are pulling from the MLS, but you do just want to verify that everything is accurate. You can edit your description. Now, as you can see, it's not showing a description on here right now. That is actually on the back side. So you do have a preview of your postcard and you can go between the front and the back. And of course, we can edit this. You don't have to include this description. If there's something else you'd like to put on there, you can certainly adjust that. You do have 1,000 characters to work with there, so you have some wiggle room. And then, like I said, you can keep going between the front and the back to make sure everything looks just as you want it. You do want to select your listing status. So is it just listed, just sold, coming soon? I'm going to go ahead and put just listed. Now, as you can see, it threw a little box here. On the other ones, it does the same thing. You'll see just listed here, right there, and then down there. So it does go ahead and add those for you so you can see it. Unfortunately, you can't customize, change the color, or anything like that on these. These are pre-made templates that you're just filling in the information. Now, once we're done with our content here, we can keep coming down. It is going to verify agent information. So this is the reason that we went over the marketing profile at the beginning of the class. This information is pulling directly from my marketing profile. So if that information is not correct, it's going to pull it here. Now, it can still be edited, not a big deal, but it's just going to make it easier for you in the long run if everything is correct in your marketing profile. So that's the reason we go over that. There is one thing you want to adjust right here, and that's going to be the phone number. You want to just click in here and hit spacebar so that it adjusts the phone number correctly. And once you're done with that, you can go ahead and hit save. It is going to let me know, hey, the low resolution, we're not responsible for low quality postcards. You're kind of using it at your own risk. I can't really tell from the image, but I think it looks great. So we're going to go ahead and leave it. Next is market center information. Now, again, this is pulling from my marketing profile. So as long as that's correct, this should be correct as well. I can still, again, edit that. The only thing I'm going to need to adjust here is this section here. It is going to have me put in my zip code. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in real fast. And the reason for that being is that it used to not pull the state. So this is new. But on the marketing profile, all of this information is in one text field. So when it pulls over, it doesn't necessarily break those apart and put them in where they belong. Once you're done, though, it will have you verify the address. If it's wrong, you can certainly change that. And then it will give you the little green check mark. So green check mark is what you want to see. Otherwise, something needs to be fixed. Next is our targeting. So this section here is going to pull based on the property address. You can certainly adjust that if you're looking to target a specific area. However, usually when you're doing something like this, you probably are targeting the neighborhood. You do see here also that you have the ability to target your database. Targeting your database for stuff like this is great for, like I said, if you're doing client events or if you're sending out holiday postcards or something like that, and you want to do it directly through command, that's a great way to do it. You don't have to take anything to the mailbox or worry about postage. All of that is done for you. Once we're good here, we can go ahead and hit save. And then the next part here is our budget. So how many cards do we want to send, excuse me, or how much money do we want to spend? So you can kind of identify that here. It will adjust that estimate as you adjust the quantity. You can also take a look at first class versus standard if you want. There is a slight increase in price, but nothing crazy. Once we're done with that, we can go ahead and hit save. Now, before we go over to configure targeting, there's one more thing that I want to show you over here. And that is this little tracking. Now, you can add a QR code to your postcard so that if someone were to scan that, they would automatically be redirected to whatever URL website you would like them to be redirected to. Now, that could be your agent website, that could be a open house sign-in sheet where it tracks the address and their information. It could be your consumer app, any of those to where you could capture that lead. And in order to do that, you just need to turn on tracking and you need to decide where you want them to be redirected. So your agent site, your app link, or one of your landing pages. If you keep coming down, there are other forms that you can choose as well. I'm going to go ahead and just send them to my app. Hopefully they sign up and then I will be notified of the new lead. Now, we're not seeing that. That actually goes to the back of the card. You'll see it right here now. So if I turn that back off, it's gone. Bring it back. There it is. So that's the best way to track if people are getting these or doing something with them is by that QR code. So once we're done with that, the next thing we want to do is hit configure targeting and go to the next page. And while that's loading, there is a question in the chat. My screen is not showing the preview on the right side. Kelsey, my question to you would be, what type of device are you doing this on? Now that we're in configure targeting, this is where we get to get very specific about who these cards are going to. So we get to decide, again, how many homes. So that's going to adjust your price. If you move that up or down, you'll see it at the bottom. It will adjust that price. You'll also notice my map changes. So depending on who I'm sending that to, it will show up the little dots on here. Now I can also change the property type that I am targeting. I can do single family homes, which includes townhouses and manufactured home types. If I change that, it's going to change my dots. Or I can just target multifamily. So if I want to do condos, co-ops, apartments, those kind of things, I can adjust that as well. As you can see, in some areas, it's going to say there are only 74 that we can send it to that match this specific criteria. So it's only going to be fewer postcards that are being sent. And then when you look at some of these dots, let's see if I can find one. Some of them are hard. If you hover over them, it's going to give you like the address. So this is a perfect one. So as you can see, when I'm hovering over this one, it says 2 units. So that is going to have 2 properties there that it's sending that card to. I don't know if there's any more that have that. It just depends on the address that we pull. But if you see one that you don't want to include, you can, of course, remove it. It's going to still be there and be gray, and you can always restore it if you took one off by accident. We're going to go back to all, and I'm going to adjust this. So same thing, I can remove them, hover over them, take a look at them. I get a lot of questions about how do I export these? How do I get the addresses, contacts with the addresses? Unfortunately, these are just addresses. There is no contact associated with these. When they send out to the properties, they say a current resident. So there is no way to export the list of addresses you're sending them to or contacts that are associated, which is the reason I highly recommend using the QR code, because that's a great way to try to capture that. But moving on, the next thing you can adjust is the bedrooms. So if you want to adjust a certain amount of bedrooms in homes, if you want to adjust the square footage, the year the home was built, the last time it was sold, last sold for. And then again, you can still change your postage if you'd like to from here. And you can see it does get bigger. It also has the option for you to draw, so you have that ability as well. And then it does give you the option if you would like a postcard sent to your house, or not to your house, I'm sorry, to your market center so that you can get a physical copy and see it. You can check mark that box. Now, as you can see, my price does change. I am being billed for the one that I am receiving. So just keep that in mind. And then if we go ahead and hit next, we'll go on to our next page. Unfortunately, on these templates, the font can't be adjusted or anything like that. This up here, you can change the description, so that can be changed. But everything else, like the font and the color, those can't be adjusted. You can, however, upload a custom template that you created yourself. From here, we have another preview of our postcard before it's sent. We can view it on a larger scale. Now we'll open it up over here. And so we can get a closer view of the image, make sure it looks good. Everything else, take a closer look at, make sure we are happy with that. From there, we can go ahead and enter our payment information, get that set up. I do like to go over the processing down here. So same day processing. If you submit your order before 3 p.m. on a business day, your mailers go into production the same day in a local fulfillment center. US distribution, USPS distribution, your cards will be inserted into the mail within 2 business days. And then the estimated delivery, your mailers are estimated to arrive in the mailboxes of the targeted recipients 7 to 14 business days. Once the order is submitted, you are provided a more exact estimated time of when those are going to be delivered. Then you go ahead and enter your payment, your card, all of that. You can also schedule for a later date. So let's say that you've set this up, but you're not quite ready for it to go into production. You can schedule a specific date. Keep in mind that schedule date is when the processing starts, not when it is put into the mail. So you still want to allow for those additional dates for that to be received. And we are at our halfway mark, so that is this one. So I'm going to go ahead and take us into creating a custom template. If there are any other questions that you didn't ask, Kelsey, my other question follow-up for you is, what type of laptop are you using? Is it a Mac or something like that? But if there are no questions on this, we're going to go ahead and go back. Interesting. Kelsey, are you using Google Chrome? From here, we're going to go ahead and go into designs, and we're going to grab a postcard from there. And we are going to go into create, and we're going to do print. And I'm not going to go over creating the design too much. We do have a class that goes fully in depth. What I really want to focus on for this section of the class is how to resize these, because unfortunately the designs are created in WeBrand and the mailer platform is slightly different. So any custom template that you create is most likely going to have to be resized. So we do get a lot of questions on that. So we really want to focus on that for the second half. So we are going to come in here and find a postcard. I'm going to do one for an open house. We'll target an open house. And we're going to find a postcard size. So I'm going to grab one of these that I like. I'm going to go with this one on the far right. Kelsey, I would try using Google Chrome. Command does perform better in Google Chrome. So that would be my first recommendation. From here, you guys, we're going to pull in our photos and everything. Now, I could pull in a listing from the KWLS. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna we'll do the same as before. We'll do Main Street. Ooh, that image is huge. It's not want to adjust. Let's go find a different one. Hold on. We'll just grab this one. There we go. That works better. Except it's not. They've been doing some updates to designs lately. So every time I get in here, things are a little different. It's not, there we go. We got it a little bit better. Of course, that's way bigger. Let's crop this a little bit. Alrighty, so we've got our design. I'm not going to go update all of the open house information, but of course you would want to do that before we download the design. You do want to also make sure you edit the back of your design. We'll go ahead and grab that here. And we'll swap out our logo. And then of course, edit the rest of your information. Do keep in mind when you're using these is that you do want to make sure that white space is there. The reason for that is that you do need somewhere for this section to go. So that's the reason they built these templates. So anytime you're uploading a custom template, just be aware you may have to adjust a little bit so that your image is not being cut off or something like that when you upload it for this section. Again, if you wanted to include your own QR code, you could. I don't think it will let you. We'll take a look, but I don't think it lets you on the upload, but it might. I haven't done that for a while. Once we have our image, though, we're going to go ahead and download those. I'm just going to do them as JPEG. And then I like to resize mine in Canva. The reason for that being is that I have already created a template that matches the size that I need. So we'll take a look at that. Let me go over here. We're going to log into Canva. And we're going to go back into the campaign section. So back into here. And a lot of this is going to be very similar to what we just did. The only difference is, like I said, we are uploading a custom template versus doing a pre-made. And then I'm going to do event awareness since we are doing an open house. I could also do attract buyers. I just picked the first one that I saw. For content, you'll notice when I come in this way, based on my goal, it didn't ask me to immediately put in a listing. So you can then enter all of your information, upload your own photo, etc. But we're going to go over to the custom template. Now, once you come here, you'll notice it's going to give you all of the various sizes you're going to need. Now, again, whether you've grabbed a design from Command or from Canva or another platform, you're still most likely going to need to resize it, just because they are two different technically platforms for creating those postcards. So it just doesn't translate quite the same. So if I come in here to browse, whoops, Let's go back and get my postcard first. Let me find those that I just downloaded from Command. All right. So now that we're in Canva, you want to pick the size postcard that you want, because those are the dimensions you're going to want to use when you're creating this. So I've already created a template that is that size. However, if I want to create one from scratch, I just hit create a design, custom size, and then it's going to allow me to put in the height and the width. Now, as you can see, it's already pulling the 1875 by 1275, which is this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and it's going to open me into a blank one. Now I know this is a couple of steps because you have to download from Command and then upload, but I just prefer to use Canva for this. So I'm going to upload both of these images. Once they come, you'll see they're my front and my back of my postcard. I'm going to add a page, and then I'm going to move that over. Make sure everything's good, nothing's cut off. Do the same down here. Make sure I like it. Once I've got that, I'm going to download this again. Again, I know it's a couple of steps, but I find that Canva is the easiest way to resize these. Download, and then we're going to do just page 2. Now, once I have this downloaded, I can come back into my campaigns, and I can go ahead and add those images. Now, if I go to download, and I did that the wrong one, and then browse, you'll see I upload those with no problem. If I would have grabbed the original download, that was from these are the ones from Command, you'll notice it's going to give me an error. So if you ever see that, you just got to resize them. Once we're good there, again, I can view my front and my back. And I was correct, they don't allow the tracking QR to be added from here. So if you do want to add that, we would recommend adding that to your design directly. If you need help creating a QR code, Scott Leroy, you can email us at support@scottleroymarketing.com. All we need is the URL that you want that QR for, and we can go ahead and create that for you. Once we're good with our content, though, we can go ahead and hit save. I can then make sure my market center information is correct. Go ahead and confirm. My targeting, this is where I would want to either target the open house, or if I want to target my database. Obviously for an open house, I don't want to target my database, but I do want to show you what that looks like. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. It's going to allow you to add contacts. Now, as you can see, I'm not able to add anyone to this. The reason for that being is that I don't have any active addresses for any of these in their primary field or their mailing address. So the contact's primary address will be used if the mailing address is not available. So I don't have a primary or a mailing address for my contacts because, as you can see, they are just characters. But if I did have those, I could go ahead and select who I want to send this to, or select all and add them to the campaign. But the great thing is that you're not sending those to anyone that doesn't have an address. So you're not wasting money. Once we're done though, we can go ahead and let's go ahead and enter this. And hit save. Then again, it's the same thing. We do our budget. Once our budget is set, we can go over to configure targeting. Are you sure you want to create this? Yes. And then we just gotta give it a minute. Tanya, yes, this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I can drop our YouTube channel in the chat in just a second. Again, exactly the same here. We can change our address, we can do the radius, draw, etc. to find those targeted properties that we would like, and we can make the adjustments here for the other information. It's pretty much the same from here. You go to the final section, make your payment, see your preview, and go ahead and pay. Now, as you can see, like I said, this was the important part, making sure that your photo and any other text you might have back here isn't being cut off because of this section here. So just make sure you check that out before you send to print, and you should be all set. Guys, we are done a little bit early. I'm gonna hang around for questions, or if anybody has something that I didn't show you guys that you would like to see. I like to make sure we have plenty of time for that. So, if you don't have any questions and you're all set, feel free to jump off. I hope you enjoy a little bit of your time back. If not, hang around and let's get through some questions. I'm gonna go ahead and stop record so we can do that though.